We're talking about a leaked signal messaging group.
Right.
And it involves some seriously big names from the Trump administration. They were discussing a possible military strike against the Houthis in Yemen.
That's right.
All in this private chat.
All in this private chat, yeah.
But that's not even the craziest part.
Oh, no.
A journalist is claiming he saw actual classified military plans before the strike even happened.
Allegedly, yeah.
So first off, how did this even leak out?
Well, it wasn't your typical leak, with someone sneaking documents or anything like that.
Right. It wasn't like a Woodward and Bernstein situation.
No, not at all.
Yeah.
This journalist, Jeffrey Goldberg from The Atlantic, he claims he was actually added to this signal group.
Wait, so they just invited him in?
That's what it seems like.
Wow. And this wasn't just like a random group chat, was it?
No. This was the big leagues.
Right.
We're talking Vice President J.D. Vance, Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth, National Security Advisor Mike Waltz.
Huge names.
Huge names.
Yeah.
All discussing this potential strike in Yemen.
And targeting the Houthis.
Yes.
The Houthis are a major player in Yemen.
Politically and militarily.
Right, and they have ties to Iran.
Exactly.
And the whole Suez Canal thing is a big deal because it's a major shipping route.
A global shipping route.
And they've been causing some problems there.
Disruptions, yes.
And Goldberg saying he saw the actual plans.
That's his claim.
Not just like casual talk.
No, he claims he saw details about weapons packages. Even the timing of the operation.
And this was before the strike.
2 hours before.
2 hours before. Wow, that's
pretty shocking stuff.
BBC News really highlighted Vice President Vance's initial reaction.
Oh, he did not hold back.
No, he didn't.
He straight up said, I think we're making a mistake.
Strong words.
Very strong words.
Especially in that setting.
Especially in that setting, yeah.
So what was his reasoning?
Well, his main point was that a U.S. strike to protect the Suez Canal would mainly benefit Europe.
Right, because they rely on that route more.
And he even brought up Trump's whole stance on Europe.
Right, that whole make NATO pay thing.
Exactly. Where Trump was pushing for European countries to take on more of the financial burden.
For their own defense.
Exactly.
So Vance was basically saying, this doesn't line up with what we've been telling them.
He was questioning whether Trump was fully aware of that inconsistency.
Right. And he was also worried about oil prices spiking.
Yes.
Yeah.
That was another concern he raised. He actually suggested delaying the strike for a month.
Interesting.
Yeah. But the article says he eventually went along with the group.
With the consensus.
Yeah. But you have to remember, Vance's spokesperson told Goldberg that Trump and Vance later talked it over.
Okay.
And they reached complete agreement.
So they ironed it out.
They did, yeah. And Vance was pretty blunt about it.
What did he say exactly?
He told the defense secretary straight up, if you think we should do it, let's go. I just hate bailing Europe out again.
Wow.
And Hegseth agreed with him.
What did he say?
He said, I fully share your loathing of European freeloading. It's pathetic.
They took it even further.
They did.
By suggesting that the U.S. should demand something in return.
From Egypt and Europe?
After the strike?
Yeah, after we clear the Suez Canal.
Right.
They literally asked, if Europe doesn't remunerate, then what?
Wow. So it wasn't just about keeping the waterway open.
It seems like they saw it as a bargaining chip.
Right, like they were expecting some sort of payback.
Some kind of quid pro quo.
Exactly, and specifically from the Europeans.
Yeah, which shows just how deep that skepticism ran.
Right, they weren't just frustrated. Okay, so the strike happens.
Right.
What's the reaction?
Well, it's pretty interesting.
Yeah.
The article actually describes their emoji responses.
Oh, yeah.
In this day and age.
They speak volumes.
They really do.
So what were they posting?
Well, the National Security Chief posted a fist, an American flag, and fire.
Right, and then you've got Steve Witkoff.
The Middle East Special Envoy.
Yeah, what did he post?
He went with 2 hands praying, a flex bicep, and 2 American flags.
And even Vance chimed in with, I will say a prayer for victory.
After all his initial doubts.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And 2 other members added prayer emojis too.
It's interesting how these reactions play out. Basically shift the focus away from Europe.
Right.
And make it about the previous administration in Iran.
It's classic political maneuvering.
Absolutely.
Blame the other side and a foreign adversary.
And try to control the narrative.
To avoid any backlash. Okay, so let's talk about how Goldberg actually got into this chat.
Right, because that's the $1 million question.
It really is.
So according to the article, he got an invitation.
To join the group.
Yeah, from an account named Michael Waltz.
So the National Security Advisor himself
Well, an account with his name.
On March 11th,
Yeah. And he was added to the Yemen chat a few days later.
and this was without him asking or anything.
Unsolicited, apparently.
That's wild.
It really is.
I mean, that raises so many questions about security.
Especially for such a high-level group.
Right, you've got the vice president in there,
Yeah.
the defense secretary,
Discussing sensitive information.
and they just let a journalist in.
Well, it's unclear how it happened exactly.
But still, it's a huge red flag.
Definitely.
And the article says that Trump himself wasn't in this particular group.
Right, he wasn't a direct participant,
And Goldberg's initial reaction was that it was a hoax.
which is understandable.
Yeah, I mean, who wouldn't think that?
Correct.
You get invited into a secret chat.
With the most powerful people in the country.
Yeah, and they're talking about military strikes.
It's like something out of a movie,
It really is, but
Yeah.
the fact that he was even given access.
whether it was intentional or not.
Right.
It's a major problem.
Absolutely, and the Democrats have called for an inquiry, especially since the invitation came from Waltz's account.
Yeah, he's under a lot of pressure right now.
And what about Trump? What's he saying about all this?
He claims he knew nothing about the group.
But he's standing by Waltz?
Yes, yeah.
And the defense secretary's trying to downplay it all?
He's denying that they were texting war plans.
War plans, in quotes.
Right. But even if they weren't sharing formal documents, if they were discussing the specifics
Yeah, like Goldberg claims.
about weapons and targets and timing,
That's still a huge breach of security. Finally, there's the whole strategy of controlling the narrative.
right, blaming Biden and Iran.
And downplaying any potential problem.
It's all about shaping public perception.
Yeah. So this whole signal leak, it makes you think about how national security decisions are made.
Especially with the speed of information these days.
Yeah, and the potential for things to go viral
Definitely food for thought.
long after this deep dive is over.
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
Yeah.